So if I want to start off with a new document, I'm just going to go into File and then go New. And I'm going to say what kind of document I want. Say I wanted to do letter. I'm going to keep this at 2 artboards. Actually, I'm going to customize this a little bit more. So I'm going to do, instead of a letter, I'm going to just click Custom. And I actually have what looks like Instagram dimensions, so I went into units of measure right here and selected pixels, and I manually typed in the measurements right here. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 artboards, and then I'm going to click Create. So now I have 2 square artboards to work with. So just to give you an example of what kinds of artwork you can create, I'll give you a simple example and one that's a little bit more on the complex side. So I'm going to move my artboard, and the way I do that is right here. So I click this. This is the icon for the artboard tool, and I can shift that over. And what's neat about artboards is that you can name them. So now it says artboard 1, artboard 2. But I can actually go in here where it says artboards, or I can go into Window and go down to artboards, and it comes up the menu for artboards, and I can double click and name them whatever I want. So I could say pattern 1, pattern 2. Okay, so it's just good frame of reference. Let's create something like a simple pattern. So I'm going to create based off of the rectangle tool right here, and I'm going to change the color. So I'll make this dark turquoise. I'm going to get rid of the stroke. So I'm going to make sure I am right here. With the shape tool, the rectangle shape tool, I'm going to click, and I'm also going to click shift as well because I want a perfect square. Just like that. And I don't know if you can realize, but you can see the guides that show a diagonal and that show a little X in the middle of the square. So I want to make sure I see that while I'm creating those shapes. And what helps out is that if I want something to align, it helps with alignment. So I'm wanting the center of this square to align with the corner of this artboard. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to click, hold down Alt or Option, and then that creates a duplicate. So you want to click and drag, and that creates a duplicate square. So again, click, hold down Option, and drag, and you'll get your copy. So I'm just going to assemble this here real quick. And I'm creating something just really simple, straightforward. I want to make sure all those are aligned properly. Now let's say for this guy right here, if I click on the artboard tool, I get some guides. And it shows me my frame of reference, so where the center is vertically and horizontally. Well, let's say I want to get more detailed than that. So if I go Command R, out pops my rulers, or what I can do is go Window, and rulers should be in here. Oh, it's not in there. Okay, well, the best way to get rulers out is to simply go Command R, disappears, Command R again, and it reappears. So shortcuts are your friend in Illustrator and in any Adobe program. So I want to click on my artboard and I have some frame of reference. I want to set some guides for myself. So what I want to do right here, I can set some guides that are visual for me, and I can start to see which areas do I want and center my square this way. So those guides actually don't move, but there is a way for me to make them move. I can go into the option of view and then look at guides and unlock guides. So now my guides are movable. And then if I go back to view, guides, lock guides, it'll shift back to lock. All right. So let's say I want something like this for my pattern. I'm going to, again, create another square right here. I'm going to change the color. Let's make this green. And I kind of like that this one is in front and this one is in the back, so I'm going to try to achieve that on all of them. Okay. Then I'm going to select both, click and drag to the bottom. Alright, so now I have this square, which is pretty much my first, the first direction in which I'll be building my pattern on. So if I zoom in, okay, what I want to do is I want to crop those areas out because the pattern needs to be flush to the artboard. So what I can do is I'm going to create a mask. So I'm going to select the rectangle tool. I'm going to make a rectangle that should be without color. So just zero fill, zero stroke. Okay, so it's there now, but you can't see it. But when you hover over it, it's there. So now what I want to do is I want to select all, and then I want to go Command G, which groups them all together. Okay. So with that in mind, I'm going to select Ungroup so I can select my invisible square. I'm going to bring that to the front, and I'm going to select again. I'm going to see if I can make a mask. Yep, I made a mask. So it hides all the edges. The next step is we want our Pathfinder tool. So I'll go Window, Pathfinder, okay, and I'm going to select everything that I have, and then I'm going to click Crop, this little icon over here. So if you hover over anything, it tells you what it is: crop, merge, divide, trim. You have all those options, so we're going to select Crop. So just crop that right now. Next, what I want to do is I want to go into Windows again and go into my swatches palette. Right? So with this selected, I'm going to click and drag into my swatches. So it's in here now. So what I want to do is now create a seamless pattern out of this small pattern that I created. So if I were to go and select the rectangle tool, okay, and then select the pattern, I already have a seamless pattern. Right? Now you can manipulate the shapes based off of your liking, but you want to make sure you go back, and when you go back, you go Command Z, step backwards. And you want to make sure you've actually saved a copy before you've actually, cropped in. So let's say I go back before cropping back to this. So I make sure I want to have like a white background for this. I didn't like the way it looked. So I'll go back and I will create a white background. Alright, so I took the rectangle tool and then just made that into white, and then I'm going to go select object. Hold on, it's object. I know the what do you call it, the what do you call it, the shortcut, and it's a lot easier. So now you're having to go into object and you're going to go into arrange and you're going to send it back. So the shortcut is always going to be right here, a lot quicker for you guys as you navigate into your Adobe Creative Suite programs. So make sure to use shortcuts whenever possible because it does cut time on your end. But if you're learning, that's completely fine. We're going to go into object, arrange, and you're going to go send back. And this created a background right here. So the shortcut for this would be Shift Command right bracket to the front, Shift Command left bracket. Alright, so those are the little shortcuts that will help us. So I want to create another rectangle and create a mask. I want to make sure that this is transparent. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to make a mask. So I'm going to go right click, and in Mac it's you simply go Control click and you go clipping mask. Okay. So now you have this, and now you're going to go into your Pathfinder menu and you're going to select crop. Okay. And then click and drag. So it's in there. And now we want to see how this previews. Put this in here. So it's got some interesting shapes to it. Definitely like it more with the white background. But this is just an example of what you can do with a simple version of a pattern. And you can definitely customize it to your liking. I will create something a little bit more complex in my next video, but for now this is going to be a very simple version.